All right, we're going to start right now. I'm the spokesman this time for the presentation, and I'll be talking about the team, the goal, branding, beta, result, and the future. Here's our team right here, and guys, go. Only seven, we are a team of 7, and only 4 of us could be here, and our sponsor is right down below. So our challenge on this project was 7 people, 4 counties, and you had to do a group project to graduate. And anytime you talk about a group project, that's really never good. So this was our project goal, and it's kind of a highfalutin way of saying collaborate. How can we focus on collaboration? But really, what was the problem that we were trying to solve? And that was something we started looking at. And these are some more of our problem statements. Now, we might have exaggerated this a little bit, but we really wanted to focus on what was the actual issue that we were trying to come up with a solution for. So our opportunity statements are there, and we had really liked the rural counties set up, but what we felt is it would be great to be able to do a deeper dive and focus on getting a little bit more information. So how did we brand it first? Thought it should be catchy, but not too kitschy, and then we just stole an idea. And you might recognize it, but maybe not. So we picked Tynder for government. We changed the I to a Y so we wouldn't get sued for copyright infringement. And we came up with a 3-letter acronym because this is IT, and that's what you have to have if you want to succeed. So what we did is a beta, or a pilot, so that we could see if this idea would really work. And we wanted to try and validate our approach and see if we could make this work. So what did we do? We got ourselves on the agenda for CCISDA at the City of Industry, and let me tell you, it's not really that hard to get on the agenda. And by the way, how many of you were there? Excellent, excellent. So here are some of the things that we did. Now, what were some of our worries? Our worries was this was a new session, brand new. It was on the last day. It was the last thing on the last day. So we figured if we could make it there, we could make it anywhere. So what'd we do? We did basically 3 things. We made sure there was food, we made sure there was drink, and we were always selling. You'll notice we were just selling again. That was a big part of our success, at least that's what we think. Post-conference, we posted the results in that famous file cabinet that everybody keeps talking about, and there'll be more coming into that cabinet. And I hope that y'all take a look at it, because there's some really good stuff there. So how'd we do? Well, we had about 60 people in the room, which was pretty good, and you'll see our survey results. Pretty much everybody said that they would come back, given the choice. And guess what? You've been given that opportunity, so I hope I see everybody there, because we got invited back to CCISDA spring 2017, 3 to 5 tomorrow, key time. I know everyone's going to want to try and figure out how we got that coveted spot. So how to keep this going? We wanted it to be easy for someone else to be able to do this. So as Gartner says, today I stole that too, they said we should have some artifacts. So we created some artifacts, and we created a roadmap. And it's all nicely documented. We created sample templates for everyone to use. I mean, this really couldn't be easier. Anybody could pick this up and do this, and that was kind of the point. These documents have all been tested, and we've really worked on them. We created a succession plan for how we do this. We go from coordinator to director. It gets top to bottom, hardest to easiest, and then you're out. Kind of like on the CCISDA board, we used that model. What we created was a run book. This is your 7-page guidebook. It's great, and you should go check it out in the file cabinet. And it'll tell you how to put together this session, and it gives you all the materials, the timeline for sending out surveys, and then the future. The future, you are the future, because it's really not about us putting this together. It's about you participating and coming to this session at 3 o'clock for drinks and food and collaboration. So that was 5 minutes, so now I have 5 minutes for questions, and our team will be happy to answer any questions that you have for us. Or if you don't, we're good too.
Hi, thank you for the nice presentation. Very short, quick, and very easy to understand. I was just wondering, what is the main content of the beta testing? Like, what exactly happened when you were doing the beta testing?
Well, do you want to say? Oh, should I say?
It was proof of concept. We had an idea of things that would bring people together, because this was all about networking ultimately and taking tangible outcomes that you go to a conference. What one thing can you take away from that conference that you learned that you can immediately put into practice when you get back to your office the following Monday? So we could easily come up with topics and timely ideas that would get people's interest, and over time that's going to currently evolve. But it was, how do you get people to share the information? So in the past, you may have seen it as birds of a feather. You may have seen it as, the colored ribbons on badges that say you're a network person or you're a project management person or a development person. So you know who to go talk to and kind of hang out with, because you most likely have common ideas and challenges and maybe use the same software. So we thought this was a great idea, but until we actually ran through the paces to see what the response and the feedback was, we didn't know. And as you saw by the survey results, very well received, and people wanted to see this again. So we think it's important for that takeaway aspect that you can go, and at the end of the conference, at least you can say, I attended the Tynder session, I had one particular interest in mind, and I talked to someone and learned something, and I know who to contact when I get back to my office on Monday. That made the conference worthwhile.
What we actually did is we did send out a survey, and everyone responded, and then we took the topics and we created 2 sessions. So there's 40 minutes for top 8, 40 minutes for the other 8, and then part of one of those roles that you saw up there, part of their job was to go and find someone to facilitate the topic table. And so the idea is you don't necessarily have to be an expert or have a success story. You could either just be really interested or just willing to moderate. But the idea was to have someone whose job it was at the table to make everybody talk together. And so that was one of the key successes. And again, the topics came from everyone answering the survey. I mean, those surveys can be a pain in the neck, but because we all seem to be doing them, but it really made a big difference, and it let us see what was a good thing to present and talk about. Any other questions?
There are no other questions, but I'm not supposed to ask any, but I will. Who paid for the food and drinks?
The vendors did. Again, hand out to the vendors, because it was an actual session at CCISDA, and we did work with executive events to see if we could get ourselves some food and drink, and they helped facilitate that with the vendors. We were going to bring our own.
Have you prototyped the version without food and drinks?
We don't want to risk it. We got a good thing going. We beta tested that, and it worked out really well, so we're going to stick with it. But, of course, you don't have to have anything to eat or drink. There's water. And there was a lot of talking, but it's also a way for the vendors to participate, sort of. So I think I would recommend it again.
And because of the time slot that we got, the coveted last session of the conference, we weren't sure what type of attendance would be there. So there's always a little enticement, but we've created something that can be plugged in at any time during the conference. So the food and beverage may not be necessary. We would hope that people would see the value of the interaction with your peers and taking away something tangible as the primary reason to go, not just for a beverage and a snack.